And so just allowing the body to just settle here. The theme for today is balanced effort. So we'll be talking about that. And we're just tuning in for now to whatever is happening in the moment. So if your eyes are open and you like to close your eyes, that's fine. You're welcome to do that. If you want to leave them open, that's okay too. What we do is we often lower the gaze, and this is just so that we can bring our attention inward. So when we open our eyes, our attention is outward, and we're experiencing the world in that way. When we close our eyes, our attention is inward. And so eyes open or eyes closed is fine. If you have them open, just lowering your gaze can give the mind that hint that we are looking inward. And just allowing for the body to settle here. And there's nothing to do. There's nowhere to go. But just being here right now at this moment. And even though we're not together physically, we're still together here in our practice, coming together as one in our mindfulness practice. So just allowing for whatever might be here to just kind of fall into the background. Maybe there is still some thoughts or emotions from the moment before, maybe even physical sensations that might still be here. So just allowing for all of it to just settle in this moment. And maybe you can notice your breathing, checking into how you're sitting or how you're standing or lying down. You can do this in any pose, checking in with yourself. And just allowing the body to kind of take its place here, to settle, to just comfortably rest here in this pose that you're in. Maybe your feet are in contact with the ground, so just noticing your feet. Maybe parts of your legs are in contact with the chair or the cushion. Maybe the back pushing against your body, against your back. And noticing if there is any tension in the body. Anything that might want to be let go. And this is more like an invitation. And so if something wants to be let go right now, then just allowing it to just kind of fade into the background, just softening the shoulders, softening the muscles around the face, letting go of any tension or tightness that might be here, if that's okay and feels all right for you. Maybe taking in a deep breath, holding it on top, and on a long exhale, just allowing the body to release if it feels all right. And let's do that again. Taking in a deep breath, holding it on top, and long exhale and release. And you can do that one more time if you like. And whenever you're ready, just bringing your attention to your breath. Noticing the body breathing without any help. It does it all on its own. So there's no need to control or change or manipulate, just allowing the body to breathe. Just giving it that space right now and settling your attention right here where you feel the breath the most. Maybe the sensation of the breath coming in through the nose, the lungs filling up, maybe the belly rising, the entire body rising and falling on the in breath and out breath. If you're noticing restlessness or a lot of distraction, that's okay. Just noticing that. And then seeing if you can just allow your attention to rest on your breathing. And there's no reason to change or modify the breath, but just noticing that the body's breathing, that you are breathing. That's it. There's no particular way to breathe. The body does it all on its own. Noticing if you're maybe trying too hard to be a certain way, to feel a certain way right now. Being in a state that is different than how you are would just bring tension and tightness. And so, whatever is here, just allowing it to be here, but allowing your attention to also rest just here on the breath. We can have everything else be sort of like a commentator in the back, but the attention is resting right on the breath. Maybe feeling the body rising on the in-breath and falling on the out-breath. And maybe the mind is very distracted. Maybe this is a time in which maybe boredom comes in and the mind kind of wanders away in a exciting story, mind wandering. That's absolutely okay if that happens. That's a function of the mind. If you notice yourself getting distracted, wandering away, the mind kind of checking out, you can always just come back in to bring in your attention to your breathing. Just noticing the air flowing through the body. Noticing the body rising on the in-breath, falling on the out-breath. Maybe sleepiness might come in too. If you notice yourself feeling sleepy, you can always adjust your pose, straighten your back, straighten your neck, open your eyes, and then just come back whenever you're ready. And just looking at your experience and seeing how much effort you're putting in right now in this moment. And maybe seeing if maybe the effort feels right now. Maybe bringing your attention to the breath and maybe staying with it a bit longer. But then also having a sense of kindness and compassion for the mind that gets distracted, the mind that wanders, the habitual mind. And coming back again and again, putting in the effort necessary to come back and bringing your attention to your breathing. And I'm noticing where this effort that you're putting into this moment, noticing where it's coming from. So coming from a sense of getting somewhere. So coming from a sense of an expected outcome, trying to change things, trying for the moment to be other than what it is. Or is it coming from deep calmness and acceptance? So engaging yourself again and just bringing your attention to the body breathing here and noticing how much effort am I putting right now in this? Is it enough to just come here and sit for 20, 30 minutes? Can I put in a little more? Am I putting in too much? That my body's stressed? Can I just, at this moment, maybe allow things to be the way they are? Without pushing away, without trying too hard. But maybe finding that fine line between comfort and discomfort. And while we explore this idea of the right effort right now, the balanced effort that we're putting in into our practice, maybe checking in with the body, noticing that when we're pushing too much, the body gets tense, it gets tight. Checking in with the mind, if we're not doing enough, the mind goes idle. It distracts, it wanders away, it gets bored. So these are some ways to remember. These are some guidelines for balanced effort. Maybe even a sense of kind of giving up. And so that just means that maybe we're a little too comfortable. So finding that balance. Coming back to the body breathing, bringing your attention to it. Noticing. So Kabir, in his poem, I said to the wanting creature inside me, says, I said to the wanting creature inside me, what is this river you want to cross? There are no travelers on the river road and no road. Do you see anyone moving on that bank or nesting? There's no river at all, and no boat, and no boatman. There's no rope either, and no one to pull it. There's no ground, no sky, no time, no bank, no ford. And there's nobody and no mind. Do you believe there's some place that will make the soul less thirsty? In that great absence, you will find nothing. Be strong then and enter into your own body. There you have a solid place for your feet. Think about it carefully. Don't go off somewhere else. Kabir says, just throw away all thoughts of imaginary things and stand firm in that which you are. So as I was kind of thinking about this right effort today, I was considering how much effort I put myself into things sometimes, and right now fighting allergies and having a headache sometimes with allergies, and how my practice can be kind of a task. And so just to sit there with a headache or not feeling well sometimes could be quite daunting. And it brought me to think about right effort, right balance, or balanced effort, or non-striving. This is the other attitudinal foundation that we're visiting today of mindfulness. What's our attitude and how is this related to our energy? How much energy are we putting into things, right? Are we working hard enough? Doing long silent retreats, we're often encouraged to work very hard. And I remember the words of encouraging this work. And there were words such as work arduously, diligently. So working really hard to kind of get to a place in which the mind can settle. At first, I didn't understand those words, and I thought, okay, I'm supposed to work very hard here. But the more I practiced cultivating silence, the more I realized that this kind of effort was the fine line between being a bit lazy, going into these retreats and maybe just using it as an opportunity to rest, or realizing that the kind of effort I was putting was instead of noticing when I was distracting away from what I had to do, from my practice, from being there, from engaging. And so there are certain things that come into play that I was able to kind of tap into. And one was the sign of just almost giving up, when I sat to meditate and it was like, okay, I had enough. And that can also come to balanced effort in which, okay, there's that fine line in which I feel like giving up, but maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should continue practicing. Maybe I should try more. Or maybe just, wondering, considering the idle mind and just going into, my mind is distracted. My mind is wandering constantly. Then I'm not putting enough effort into what I'm doing. And so this almost brings me as well to perseverance, being perseverant and really tuning into what we are doing. So even if we're super distracted, even if maybe for me in this case, it would be even if my head hurts, I'll still sit and practice, knowing that fine line between pushing myself too much or maybe just giving up so quickly. And so, really using, even in this case, for me, balanced effort is maybe I'll just tune into this head discomfort, to what it feels like. Often I notice that my pain kind of, when I have allergies, gets worse because there's a tension that comes with that, into wanting it to go away, into, oh no, there's a headache again. And there's a tension in there that creates more headache. And so just even doing my practice in that way is just super helpful for me. But then again, that brings me to the opposite side, and that is exertion, right? So doing too much, maybe to the point of hurting. So another example is, the first time, I was much younger and I went to my first Vipassana meditation, and I took the directions very heartfelt. It was work, 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 arduously, diligently. And I remember pushing myself so hard that within 2 days, I was there for about 10 days. And within 2 days, I was so sick. I just made myself so sick. My body was tense and I caught a cold and my allergies and everything. So I realized that I learned that, okay, so balanced effort is really important here. How hard am I pushing myself into what I'm doing, right? And so just talking about the practice, how quickly am I to give up and say, I don't feel well, so I'm not going to sit today and practice, or I have other things to do, so I won't come to my practice today. And so really noticing these things when they rise and knowing that there is a balance in these things, that I can come in always to my practice. I can always sit and meditate. But it's more about how far am I taking this? How am I trying so hard to get somewhere? But the practice is just about noticing what rises. Just being with whatever is here. It gets a really, this right effort, balanced effort, or even non-striving comes into play when we're trying to get somewhere with the practice. And that's exactly what I learned when I was in this retreat. As I was saying, I was trying to get somewhere. I got there and I was overwhelmed with work and I wanted my mind to settle, and I was working so hard to get my mind to settle. Well, guess what? Actually, it was the opposite. The more I tried, the harder it got. And then my body started tensing and getting sick. So you'll hear me a lot of the times talking about taking baby steps towards things. So even when we come together for questions, I always say, baby steps, can you stay with this? How long can you stay with this? And always coming back to that fine line into being compassionate, into understanding that the mind is habitual, that whatever it goes is because it's been doing that for a long time. And so really bringing that sense of just understanding and that sense of compassion, and really taking it one little increment at a time, that could be really helpful in balancing this balancing effort. So sometimes you might notice that if you're really passionate about something, you might be working too hard. That's often my case. I might sometimes work really hard because, I'm very passionate about what I do. And I can see myself kind of striving, right? So then I have to constantly check with myself as well. I know, like, well, maybe I've already worked nonstop for 3 hours. Time for me to take a break. And then when I come back, I can do a lot better. And so this is as far as work. But when we're talking about our practice, it's the same thing. Every time you notice that you're trying to get somewhere, that you're really trying really hard to, maybe for the mind to settle, for the mind for the state of being to change, maybe the emotion that you have at that moment. Every time you notice that, then bringing that sense of compassion can be really helpful in kind of creating this sense of right balance, of balanced effort. The energy we're putting in can be much easier that way. So one thing that we can do is, and something that I'll invite you to do is just to know if we're really overexerting, right? We talked about exertion a little bit, and that's when we're doing too much, as I was saying. And so one thing could be just notice if there's tension in the body, notice if there's tightness or tension anywhere, and see if you can just let go. And at that moment is a great opportunity to practice. So like, what's here right now? I feel my jaw tight, my shoulders are tight, and then noticing that could be really kind of like a little guide. The body will always guide us. And so this idea of balanced effort really comes to a lot about really bringing the practice alive in all ways and noticing constantly. So you just being here right now is effort. And then we can say sitting here, a bit more effort. Bringing your mind back, bringing your attention back to the breath. That's effort. That's balanced effort. But now trying to change things and getting somewhere, this will be more striving. And this is when things would work against, because the body will start tensing and fighting. And so really noticing the fine line in the practice and being able to be with whatever is here, but still putting that effort to continue on. And so that being said, just want to thank you for your formal practice. I want to thank you for being here, practicing with us, practicing together. So thank you to every one of you that comes to support us in this way, because we're all supporting each other. There's no magic in me. The magic is in every one of you. I'm just here guiding. So thank you for listening and for being